Hi, this is Catherine. This is Taking Tea with Catherine. This is stress support tea from Yogi Teas, which is, I guess, good for stress. I would hope so. And this is a Sherlock Holmes mug with cats on it, which I thought would be fitting for March Mystery Madness. The mug actually was from, I believe, a while back. During one of the Octobers, I bought this. Claudia Spinster's Library put out a bunch of designs with cats and literature on mugs and t-shirts and stuff, and I'm not sure what else, but I don't know if she still does, but I suppose you can always check out her channel if you want to know more. But this is my March TBR, which I was thinking about for a long time, because, sorry about my nose being red, by the way, my allergies are acting up, and so I'm going to be a little nyeh today. Sorry about that. Isn't that pleasant? But anyway, so yeah, I was excited for March. Not just because of March Mystery Madness. I have a lot of things going on in March. I have a little vacation, but that's someone's visiting me, so I'm looking forward to that very much. There's a couple other things that are happening in March that I'm very happy about, and pretty much, as far as I know, it should be a good month. I don't like to speak too soon because, you know, I was all very excited in February of 2020 to talk about March, so I'm always a little bit like, all right, let's keep it, you know, a little bit chill. But speaking of chill, when I was thinking about, okay, what am I going to do for March? How many books am I going to pick up for March Mystery Madness? And okay, I like middle grade March. And oh, what about, should I get a big book for March of the Mammoths? And there was a couple other ones that I heard about, a couple other announcements of different activities, of events, readathons, whatever. I'm definitely part of a couple of group reads, so that's pretty, you know, planned out there. But then in the midst of all this, I got really anxious, like more anxious than I expected to. I thought, well, why am I so anxious? I love planning TBRs. I really do. So I analyzed myself, I guess, sort of in a mild way. And I realized that I think I've kind of overdone TBRs recently. Like in the past months, first of all, I've been part of either hosting or co-hosting a couple of readathons, which I am good with, but you know, that was so when I do that, I definitely want to participate in it. But even before that, I would say for the past year, maybe not a month has gone by where I'm not participating, even if it's a mild way, in some kind of event, which is good. It's one of the best parts about BookTube, is that there's all these fun little things you can join in and, you know, be a part of when it comes to reading, knowing other people are reading what you're reading or whatever. But there's a couple of things that happen as a result of this. Number one, my TBR stacks have become massive. Last month I made a joke of it. I called it the impossible TBR because I knew I wouldn't be able to read all the books on that TBR. It's going to start getting painful to say TBR about a million times, but oh well. And yeah, so it wasn't just that though. It was also just so many books planned out for me, even though I was doing the planning, so that when the month would progress, I couldn't, even though I always say that I leave room for mood reading, I couldn't really, because I always felt like, no, these books are waiting for me. They're telling me to read me. And I know that I could occasionally diverge a little bit, but I really felt like why was I even showing you guys all these books if I'm barely going to touch them? So that was one problem. And yeah, the other problem was that I haven't really been able to balance out my months with just books that I feel like reading. Whether I plan them in my TBR specifically and say, this book I'm in the mood to read this month, or I just pick up a book, say, you know, on the 10th day of the month and just say, I feel like reading this, doesn't matter. If I hadn't planned to, this is just what I'm in the mood to read. Again, mood reading. So I said, what can I do? Should I just keep going on? I mean, there are a lot of wonderful videos out right now of everybody doing their TBRs, and I think they're great and, you know, good. But I said, well, I'm going to do something for myself that I think I need to do, and then I'm going to get on with my life, which is I'm going to do a kind of a reset. So I'm not going to show you guys any of my specific thoughts, any specific books that I want to read in March, even though I already have about 2 books in mind because of group reads, and there's a couple of the books that are library books that I really do want to get to in March, and there's other books that I'm kind of eyeing. I thought I'm going to completely keep it blank in terms of here. So maybe because in my opinion, it's like, okay, accountability or something. I know that no one's, as far as I know, is sitting at home and checking out, okay, Catherine didn't read this. She said she was going to read that. To a point, though, that was a little whiny. To a point, I think that there is some accountability only because occasionally, this doesn't happen all the time, but occasionally I have shown a book that I say I'm going to read in this month, and someone else comments or something and says, you know what, now that I've seen that, I'm going to read that too. And they're allowed to. You know what I mean? If that gives them the mood to do so, it doesn't mean that I'm tied to that book, but it does feel a little sad when I say, oh yeah, I'm planning to read this book, and someone else gets inspired to do so, and then like some time passes and I never mention that book again, at least not for that month or the months to come. So I feel like, I mean, you know, that's like buying, you know, books and having a haul, and someone sees a book in a haul and decides to pick it up because it looks good, and you never end up reading it, and you end up, you know, donating it or something. Does that make you, you know, a terrible person? No. But I do think that I don't want to just keep having theoretical books and not really following through. Which doesn't mean that no matter what size my TBR becomes over, you know, over the next couple of months, it doesn't mean that I have to stick to it, but I want to stick a little closer. So my thoughts are that I'm not sure about April or May, but whenever I get back to putting my next TBR list together or stack or whatever, I want to keep it short, small, and very simple, 5 or under, because that's realistic. And if I am joining one of my favorite, you know, readathons where there's a bunch of prompts, I could double them up. So I don't have to necessarily have a book for every prompt. Not that that's ever necessary for these things to participate in. You know, usually it's just reading one book is fine. But sometimes I get carried away because I get excited, and it is fun. Honestly, it's fun. But what I want to do is, if this works the way I want it to work, is just to have 5 or under books that I'll show you every month. You know, either pertaining to an event or just books that I'm in the mood for, that I've been wanting to get to, whatever. And then just keep it that way. Just keep it simple. But this month, I just want to completely keep it silent. I'm, you know, in a week, 2 weeks from now, if I do a Friday Reads and I mention, okay, this upcoming week, I want to start this book. That's different. There's something really squeaky outside. Someone needs to like get some WD-40. But anyway, you know what I mean? Like, just, now I lost track of what I was going to say. Oh yeah, so the squeaking is back. It is hard to live in an apartment sometimes. Very much distraction. But yeah, so I want to keep things to that kind of point where I'm not saying I'm going to keep completely silent in all the books I plan to read. If you go on my Instagram, the Taking Tea with Catherine Instagram, occasionally I will show a picture of a book that I just started, for instance, or a book that I'm about to start. And so I'm not trying to be mysterious or anything, even though this is March Mystery Madness. I am not a woman of mystery. I am a woman who is entertained by mystery. But I think this might work in terms of just clearing the air for myself, just starting anew, a fresh, you know, spring is starting in March, yay! So, and again, because I have that week off and because I have a wonderful visitor coming, I don't think I'm going to have as much time to read, even though this person is a reader. I think that a lot of that week I'm going to be doing things and just not reading as much, and I don't regret that because it's been a long time since I spent a week with anybody. So I think this, you know, it is better for me not to put any specific expectations out there. So there it is. Okay, it's almost 10 minutes and I'm just rambling without actually mentioning anything specific. But I thought, you know, it's not a regular TBR video, but I thought it would be good to check in anyway, because it's been a little while since I made a video. I have a couple other ones coming up. I have a haul, actually, that I plan to do. I haven't done any hauls this year, I think, so it's really not just for the past month or so. It's really just whatever I bought for, which hasn't been as much, but not nothing. Okay, so, however, my actual plans as far as what am I going to read as far as genre, well, yes, I do very much intend to join in on March Mystery Madness. For sure, just because by default, one of the books that I am going to be part of a group read is actually a mystery, and the same goes for another book, which is a middle grade book. So by default, once again, I will be part of 2 different readathons. If I read other books and they fit in with other readathons, how wonderful. But I don't think that will be the only mystery I plan to read. I just don't want to put a number. I am thinking, you know, it's been a while since I read an Agatha Christie. It's been a longer while since I read a Dorothy Sayers. I would like to get to my British Library crime classics a little bit again, and other books that I have, and of course the library books that I have that are mysteries that I've been putting off, because this is another thing that I do. I put off certain books because I say, this book falls into this category, which BookTube is going to have this readathon for in 2, 3, 4 months. So I can't read this right now, or I can, but I shouldn't. So I'm going to hold it for then. And then like 10, 20 books accumulate in that genre. And what am I going to do when that month? Am I going to have all those books? No. So I want to, I've been pushing a lot of my mystery novels that I've had out from the library aside. Even though I was doing Library Love Readathon, and that could have been part of it, I did read one mystery in February, but that's not enough, you know. So, at least it isn't usually for me. So I want to, I do want to read more mysteries. I am in the mood for them, whether it was March Mystery Madness or not. Even if it was April, I'd probably be in the mood for mysteries, because that's just what I'm feeling right now. But I just say, I want to keep it as low in terms of expectation as possible. I do know that their prompt, their only thing was a thing called 2 by 2, I think, because it's like 2022. So if anything, maybe I can aim for reading 2 mystery novels in March, because then I will stick to a prompt and maybe I'll read more. But everything is just maybe. I want to see if this kind of loose, chill, laid-back vibe toward my reading helps me or actually throws me into chaos. So we'll see. So let me know what you think. Have you ever had a bit of an overwhelm? You know, maybe a little bit of a TBR burnout, or whatever this is that I'm dealing with? Do you have books that you're looking forward to reading in March? Are you participating in all these activities? If you are a content creator on BookTube, then I've probably seen a lot of your TBRs. But if you are, you know, if not as well, let me know what your plans are if you feel like sharing them. If you don't want to do that in terms of accountability as well, like me, then you don't have to either. But just let me know what you think of this plan. And that is all for now. I hope you've enjoyed this video of my little all over the place kind of thinking. But once in a while, one needs to just kind of chat a little bit, right? So this is Catherine, a Taking Tea with Catherine. Have a lovely tea and book, whatever book it is, filled day.